We all need and use a lot of water. In Texas, each person uses about 150 gallons of water each day just at home for drinking, cleaning, and watering. 3 times that much is used to grow our food, run factories, and for energy exploration. That's almost 600 gallons of water every day for every person in Texas. A lot of the water we use comes from lakes, rivers, and streams. This water is called surface water. But surface water doesn't provide all of the water we need. There is another important source of water, water from under the ground. This water is called groundwater. There is more groundwater in the world than in every lake, river, and stream on Earth. Groundwater is stored in underground reservoirs called aquifers. Aquifers are layers of rocks or soil that are full of water. The bottom of an aquifer is a hard rock or clay layer that cannot hold water. The top of an aquifer is called the water table. Groundwater starts out as rain. Some of the rain is used by plants. Some runs off into streams, rivers, and lakes. But some soaks into the ground and seeps down through the soil into the aquifer. In the aquifer, water fills the cracks in the rock or spaces between soil particles.
The aquifer is the area that is completely filled with water. This is called the saturated zone. The soil above the water table is called the unsaturated zone. If aquifers fill up enough, water can spill out onto the land. This is called a spring. Springs are an important source of water for many Texas communities. Where the land surface is below the water table, water will flow in and form swamps, marshes, or even lakes.
In Texas, more than half of the water we use comes from groundwater. It is mostly used to grow food, but is also used for drinking water, industry, and energy. To get the water out of the ground so we can use it, we have to drill holes into the aquifer to pump the water out. These holes are called wells. A well is a hole drilled from the surface down into the aquifer. A metal pipe called a casing is placed in the well so the hole doesn't collapse. A pump is put inside the casing to pump out the water. The pipe casing has holes or a screen along the sides. When the pump is turned on, water flows in through the well screen holes and is pushed to the surface. When the well is pumping water, the water table is drawn down at the well in a cone shape. This is known as drawdown and is sometimes called a cone of depression. If the pumping rate is increased, the cone of depression grows larger. If the pumping is stopped, the cone of depression will eventually disappear. If we pump a well too much or pump from wells too close together, there may not be enough water for everybody. Overpumping one well may dry up a nearby neighbor's well. Eventually, the well being overpumped can also dry up. Groundwater resources must be managed carefully to make sure this doesn't happen.
There are 2 kinds of aquifers: confined aquifers and unconfined aquifers. Unconfined aquifers, sometimes called water table aquifers, are usually close to the surface. Water can seep from the surface directly into unconfined aquifers. When these aquifers are pumped, the water table will decline and form cones of depression. Confined aquifers are usually deeper. They have a layer of rock or clay on top of the aquifer called a confining layer. This layer does not allow water to seep through, so pressure builds up as the water tries to push up through the confining unit. These aquifers are filled by seepage into the soil far away where the confining layer comes to the surface. Wells drilled into confined aquifers can sometimes float to the surface without pumping as artesian wells because of this pressure. Groundwater in our area comes from both confined and unconfined aquifers. So, if we use too much groundwater, can it run out? Well, maybe. If we use groundwater faster than the aquifers can refill, we could drain the aquifers. But remember, they can be refilled by rainwater or surface water seeping in from rivers and streams, so there's always some water going back into the aquifer. However, groundwater moves slowly, and some aquifers would take hundreds of years to refill, even if we stop pumping. We must preserve and protect this resource so the aquifers are not emptied.
The Northern Trinity Groundwater Conservation District, or NTGCD, manages groundwater resources in Tarrant County, Texas. The mission of the district is to manage, preserve, and protect the quality and quantity of groundwater by minimizing drawdown of the water table, preventing waste, and protecting the aquifers from contamination. The NTGCD helps us understand our groundwater resources and how we can protect them. They help people in our area be more careful about how they use water and try to manage pumping of groundwater so there can be enough for the future. We can all help protect our groundwater by trying to conserve or use less water. We can try to use just the water we really need. As you know, Texas is growing. More and more people need water every year. Providing more water isn't easy and it costs money. That means we all must help save the water we already have and use it carefully.
We can turn off the water when we are brushing our teeth or anytime we are not using the water. We can take shorter showers or turn off a shower when we are using soap. We can also use less water when we fill up the bath. Leaking pipes can waste a lot of water. We can check to see that faucets or pipes aren't leaking. We can run sprinklers on lawns only when we need to. We can also be sure that sprinklers don't water the sidewalk, street, or driveway. We can be sure not to keep the hose running when we wash our cars or spray our windows. Also, we could sweep our sidewalks and driveways rather than spraying them down with the hose to clean them. We can switch to low water use, drought-tolerant landscaping by using native plants or those adapted to our climate and soil conditions, replacing thirsty grass with water-thrifty ground covers, and incorporating mulch or rock hardscaping into your landscape. You can reduce the need for supplemental watering in your yard.
Rainwater harvesting can capture rain falling on land and buildings, which is then stored and used for irrigation or other uses. Use of this water for irrigation, cleaning, or even filtering for drinking can save water. Farmers can also improve irrigation practices to help save water. This can be done by switching from the common center pivot to a more efficient drag or drip irrigation system, improving water use schedules, or by planting more drought-tolerant crops. Another way well owners can help protect our groundwater is to cap or plug wells no longer in use to prevent contaminants from seeping down into the aquifer through abandoned wells. If we all work together, we can help make sure our groundwater lasts a long time. Those unseen aquifers below the ground have been here longer than we have, and with a little love and care, they'll keep on taking care of us long into the future.